Hey YouTube, my followers, my future followers. I wanted to revisit my Black Amber Ale I did the review on just a few days back. Normally if I revisit them it's not this quickly, but yeah, there's some comments I want to make on it here. So, I've only made my Black Amber Ale twice before, maybe three times, I think it's twice, and it's been a couple of years ago. I remember I used an American ale yeast in it because that particular yeast strain, I really liked it and it turned out very good. Well, as I mentioned in the other video, I used a different strain this time because I didn't want to buy the other one. I didn't have it, didn't want to spend the money on it. And I bought this yeast strain on clear. It's like, you know what? I'll just try it. Now, as a preface, this ale, this strain yeast I used in it, I have used it before a long time ago, and it's okay. I don't like it in this beer. I don't think it brings out the flavors well. I think it masks them and adds some flavor I just don't like. That doesn't make it bad, but it's just not appropriate for this beer. That's not because it's a British strain, and the other one's American. It's just every strain has different flavoring compounds, different esters it adds. And this one's not right. So the recipe is amazing. Even though I've only done it twice before, I love this Black Amber. So yeah, I'm not going to brew it with the same yeast. I'll go back to the original yeast I was using. Why am I mentioning this? Well, you know, to me, brewing is experimenting. 98% of the beers I've brewed in my 12-13 years are experiments. There's a brewery that I occasionally go to, not in town here, but close enough. And they have a brewery, well, they've been innovating and making just unique beers for many years. I called experiments because they're always creating new things. And that inspired me, rather than being that brewery that always has the same 10-15 beers on tap, or occasionally putting new on tap, like a seasonal. Always experiment, and that's what I do. I started experimenting years and years ago simply by taking the same wort, dividing it into 2 or 3 fermenters, and putting different yeast strains in each one. And it's amazing, just changing the yeast can change the flavor so radically. So, and sometimes my experiment is just switch out the hop or the malts, but try something new. Anyway, unfortunately, this yeast strain was a failure in this beer, and I honestly don't like it at all. It's hard to drink, not because it's skunked or nasty or anything, it's just the yeast strain. But here's something I found out. So, any particular yeast strain, I tried this beer, yuck, tried this beer, yuck. This one, wow, it's really good. This one, yuck, you get the idea. There are very few strains of yeast that will work in any beer out there. There's so many combinations of malt and hops that there's not one universal yeast. For homebrewing, I've seen a number of brewers use Weiss 1056 and whatever the White Labs equivalent is. That's a good strain, but there are others out there, you know. So I always like to try something new. Anyway, okay, so yeah, not happy with how it turned out as far as just the flavor of the yeast. I'll probably try something else, probably going to brew it again and go back to the original. So that's my only update here. I'll take a quick sample and that'll be all of it. I'm going to actually make this kind of short. Yeah, it's adding some kind of texture I don't like. I don't know if that's a little bit of like a chemical flavor. Of course, that would be if it's been infected, and I know this wasn't infected. This flavor it's adding is extremely hard to describe. But I'm thinking like a little rubbery or something. It just doesn't taste right at all. Now, that could have been the fermentation temperature, who knows, but it's just so far off from what I expect. All the flavors of this beer, I mean, it should be a little bit sweet, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of dark fruit, malty caramel, and I pretty much get none of that. It's all overshadowed by that yeast. And maybe this beer is infected, but not horribly so. But either way, it doesn't taste nasty, except for there's just some compound in it that is giving it a weird texture in my mouth and almost like a burnt, rubbery kind of thing. And it's weird. I keep saying it's not compromised, but I'm describing these off flavors. I've never had that before. So I don't know what else to say on that. But anyway, yeah, I go back to the original strain. But you know what? I still encourage brewers to experiment because you never know. When I tried this new strain, I was hopeful that maybe this will be great. And sometimes I do try a new strain going, you never know, maybe it'll be great. And I love it more than the original. And other times it sucks. I can't stand it. More often than not, it's a failure, but I'm still going to experiment. Everyone isn't going to be a winner, but that's how, if you don't experiment, how do you discover new things? Okay, well, that's all I have. So again, this is the Black Amber. Overall, it's not a horrible beer. It's just not what I thought it might turn out as. Yeah, those flavors just aren't there. Sad, but it's beer. Cheers.